Good evening. Welcome to tonight's council meeting. I'd like to call a meeting to order. First thing I'm going to ask for is agenda changes.
Mr. Mayor, the only thing I'll note, not really a change, but on the executive sessions, we'll have multiple under attorney-client privilege, just due to separate topics covered by the same exception.
Okay. Next, I'll open up for public forum. If there's anybody here wishing to address the council, now's the time to come forward and do that. Seeing no movement from the gallery, I'm going to go ahead and close public forum and ask for the approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, after having reviewed the consent agenda as submitted, I'd make a motion to approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and multiple seconds to pass the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. That stands as approved. We have no public hearing and we have no unfinished business. So let's move right on into new business. And the first item is the Harvey County EDC 2026 Partner Contribution Request. And I believe Ms. Beth Shelton is here to address the council tonight.
Good evening. I'm Beth Shelton, Executive Director of Harvey County EDC. I'm here to talk about our funding request for 2026 and give you a little history on our funding in the past. So I became the director in 2017. I've been with the EDC now for 10 years. We looked at our funding and we said we don't want to take money to put in the bank. We want to operate on a balanced budget. So at that time we gave money back to each one of the municipalities. So we went back to our ask from 2008. And that's been the ask that we've been operating off of the entire time that I've been here. Unfortunately, it's getting harder and harder to do so with that amount. Things have gone up, rent, utilities, just operating costs of doing business. So we are asking for a 5% increase from all of our funding partners for 2026. That is a $900 increase total, an annual increase of $900 for Halstead. One of the areas that we put additional funds into was special projects. Right now we're doing a special project with Garner Economics, and it's a competitive realities report. In 2017, we did this same exercise, and it's a SWOT analysis light. It's kind of the SWOT analysis that we can afford, but it gave us so much great information. It wasn't a document that we set on a desk, and it was something that was open. We used it daily. So we went back with Garner again, and we're asking them to do that for us. We'll have the final report in October. They're doing study groups now, but it kind of looked at areas that we can do better at, things that we're doing well, and gave us recommendations, and we were pretty successful from the recommendations that they gave us in 2017. So we set aside some money for that so that that can build up, so that in 5 or 7 years when that needs to be done again, there's funds there. Another area is salaries. Our office is just myself and Jennifer Mueller. She does our business retention, so where I'm going and visiting with companies to try to get new investment in or to help existing companies that want to grow. She is going out visiting with all of the local companies in industry, making sure that they're happy, healthy, and want to stay here, and addressing issues that they might have. In addition to that, she does all of our admin work as well. So it's just the two of us, but in the summer we bring on an intern to help us kind of get caught up with admin things, help us get ready for our audit. So it's mainly the two of us, and then we have a part-time intern in the summer. So that amount has increased. Another thing I want to point out to try to offset the ask from you is we were trying to do some more with the funds that we have in the bank. So we've started putting money in 12-month CDs so that we can get, right now I think all of our CDs are at 4.5% interest, so that we didn't have to ask quite as much from each of our funding partners. So you can see that on the budget too, that CD interest. So Halstead had always been a great partner for us. We operate best when we are all in this together. What's good for one community is good for all the communities in Harvey County, and we believe that. You guys did a great job by stepping up and creating a spec building. That was one of the recommendations from the Garner report last time, and it was a really hard conversation to have with each community that you're going to build a spec building that could sit there for a little bit, which hopefully it won't sit there for long before we get it filled. Right now we're working on marketing that and creating a video, and so hopefully the next time I'm back here we'll be showing you the video that we've created so that we can get additional interest in that. But thank you for your support of the EDC, and if you have any questions I'd be happy to answer them.
I would like to point out that Garner presentation you were talking about, I was part of that this morning, and that was pretty interesting because you're basically on a Teams meeting watching a slideshow presentation, and then they'll ask questions, and you're dialed in with your phone too. And as you put your answer on your phone, it pops up on the slide live while they're doing it. So it's pretty interesting, the tech they're using to put that whole thing together. But no, Ethan and I, we cross paths with Beth all the time on economic development, Harvey County Council of Governments. She's been a great partner. We got a lot more things we'd like to do in town, so it's good to keep them on board. For that, I'll let the rest of the council weigh in.
Well, I've got nothing, so I will.
I don't really have anything to spec building interest. I've had several people ask me about it. So be interested to see the, what kind of interest and what kind of fees and that kind of thing that goes along with that. I know that, like I said, I've had 2 people ask me, so.
I heard you
Great to
saying
know.
something about a vehicle out in front of it that was,
Oh,
you didn't want in the
Well,
backdrop or
we're
something?
working with someone that's creating a video for us, and so he's doing some drone footage, and so he's been trying to coordinate with Ethan because there's a semi parked on that road, and just we want it to look as nice
I
as
see. Yeah,
possible.
yeah.
So I'll be on this group text, and I see Ethan, the semi's moved, and the guy's like, I can't get out there. So I'm sure it will work out here in the next week or so.
Okay. So sometime in the next month or 2, we'll see
Yeah.
something.
I think he's done the inside, and we've given him all of the data points that we want to see in the video, and now it would just be shooting the outside.
I see. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions or discussion, I make a motion to grant funding for request of Harvey County Economic Development for 2026 budget year for an amount not to exceed $18,900.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant the contribution to Harvey County EDC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you, guys.
Motion carries. Thanks, Beth.
Thanks, Beth.
Next item, 2026 budget schedule. This sounds like it's got Ethan written all over it.
I apologize, because I just realized we did not put that attachment in the packet, and that's on me. Basically, as you all know, the revenue neutral rate process is still with us this year. So the big thing that we will need to get, and I guess what I'm asking for, and I'll present that to an update. Again, my apologies for not having the schedule in there, is we're on a schedule that has production and final adoption of a budget in August. If we do not observe the R&R process or would adopt a budget below the revenue neutral rate, and if we are either at or plan to exceed the revenue neutral rate, then we have a little bit later date as far as can adopt as late as September. Things I'm looking for you all would be, as you know, we do a lot more work sessions related to the budget, and I would anticipate here at the end of June would be our need for the first one, so we can kind of talk on that R&R process and what we plan to do to get that notification to the county. So if I know it's the time of traveling and vacations, so if you all have your dates of that would not work, if you would just please email those directly to me. That way I can figure and try and direct you all as for the best time for upcoming work sessions. I would appreciate it.
Is that all you need on that one?
That's all I need.
All right, next item, 217 main discussion.
Okay, we had pended the distressed property hearing on that until July 14th. I guess tonight I just wanted to open it up for discussion amongst you all. That it has been transferred via quitclaim to the Halstead Land Bank. We're still working on kind of wrapping up the closing on that property. But for all intents and purposes, it's in the land bank's possession. And just seeing from you all what plan of action you would like us to go, so we're not here on the 14th and delayed another month in having that. As I see it, I mean, we can essentially take take no action, obviously, or, you know, do we want to look at trying to develop some sort of RFP, you know, to try and see if anyone has an interest? Obviously knowing, you know, we're going to want them to address the structural issues. Or do we want to contact contractors and have them go through and give us prelim bids on things like fixing or potential demolition? So,
Well, being that we're gonna revisit this in July, what I think I'd like to do in the next couple of weeks, possibly just myself, get Pat to let me in. I just wanna go through the engineering report and read it and go through it, and then I just wanna walk through and identify everything, so I have a good understanding. Maybe we can just pass that on to others as we're getting into this. So I'd like to do that in the next couple of weeks. I think just, and if anybody would like to join me,
I would,
I wanna go through that engineering report real slow and just make all my little notes and cartoons and then go through that building and have a good understanding. So when we get in the discussion, we can maybe come up with some resolution of some sort.
Has there been any realtors that have any interest in it at all?
we have not approached any realtors.
Okay.
I mean, as far as that, and that's, yeah, more of the discussion tonight, if that's something this body would like me to do, or,
for me, I think you know, I don't like owning buildings, and I really don't like us owning the bill on the buildings. Obviously, we can't do nothing about this one because of the circumstances that are part of it, but, if we could find somebody that wants it, that would be my goal. I know it's not necessarily realistic, but it would be my preference on it. So,
I'd say let's not do anything for a couple of weeks and
I'd like George to look at it.
see what
maybe see
that
what he
comes back
thinks,
with.
so. I don't
I
know.
get you where you wanna be on that one, Ethan.
that's the consensus of you all, that's what we'll do.
I don't wanna delay the 14th either, but I just, man,
Yeah, I'd rather see what's in there
I'd
before,
love somebody else to have it
yeah.
besides us, but
Yeah, yeah.
for obvious reasons.
As nice as the last building turned out, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, if we could just find a diamond in the rough like that one,
That one's gonna have to be
Turned around
around for
pretty
the
good
next
and-
100 years to pay for
and,
itself.
and servicing it, that's the ultimate goal here, instead of just being vacant.
Got what you need there, Ethan?
Yep.
All right, next item on the agenda is best zoning regulations third-party review update. I'll throw that back to Ethan.
Yeah, we have made contact with some potential parties, and we'll have to discuss some of that as, with it being a legal review with Mr. Jantz in a later agenda item. But we have made contact, and that is moving forward, and
There's several,
discuss more.
there several agencies that do that? I don't know, that's just,
This is just a legal review on
just
the
a legal,
language.
the legal review is not the
Right.
engineering part of it at all.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah, this would just be a legal and
We're
technical review of the draft regulations.
wordsmithing of the regulations that P and Z has developed.
Understand.
But yeah, we have made contact.
All right, we do have a couple of executive sessions this evening, and I guess it's time for the motion for the first one. As soon as Ethan gets it over to Jim.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Halstead City Council recess into executive session to discuss pending contract negotiations, calls to consult with the city attorney on matters that would be deemed privileged to attorney-client relationship exemption KSA 75-4319B2 to include the city manager, the city attorney, and to reconvene at 7:40.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We are in executive session. We'll move to the back room, council. We are back from our executive session. Is there any action to be taken as a result of?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move that the planning commission be directed to deliver the city council no later than our June 23rd, 2025 meeting, the Halstead Planning Commission's recommended amendments to the Halstead zoning regulations regarding the battery energy storage systems.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for this initiative to the P and Z board. All in favor, say aye.
Do we need further discussion before we vote?
Do we, council?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm making this motion simply because the P and Z asked us to spend a significant amount of money to have their regulations looked at by a third party for legal and technical issues. And if we agree, and we've, as a city council, have agreed to do that, so we're gonna put a timeline on this so that we can get their recommendations back to us in a timely manner. Because we've been waiting, what, 15, 18 months for this now?
I think 18. Anything else, council?
Thank you, Denise.
Did I have a second on that motion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got a motion and a second on this issue. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. That'll give our zoning administrator something to do. We do have another executive session here on our agenda, and I would entertain the motion for that now. That's you, Jim, you're up.
That is me. Sorry. Mr. Mayor, I move that the Halstead City Council recess into executive session for potential litigation involving the city to consult the city attorney on matters that would be deemed privilege in attorney-client relationship exemption, KSA 75-4319B2, to include the city manager, the city attorney, and reconvene at 8:05.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to enter back into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're in executive session. We'll move back to the back room. We are back from our executive session. Is there any action to be taken as a result of? Hearing silence from the council, we'll go ahead and move on our agenda, and that gets us to the report section of the agenda.
Nope. We have more.
And this one,
We have two more.
oh yeah, I forgot we were going into two more. They were just for the same thing. We do have additional executive sessions this evening. So Jim's ready to give that, motion now.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move that the Halstead City Council recess into executive session to discuss contract negotiations, to consult the city attorney on matters that would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship exemption, KSA 754319B2, to include the city manager, the city attorney, to reconvene at 8:15.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to enter back into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
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 Pose same sign. Back to the room, council. We are back from that executive session. Is there any action to be taken as a result of? Hearing nothing from the council, we'll move on. We got one more executive session. I would entertain the motion for that now.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Halstead City Council recess into executive session for potential purchase of real estate property by the city of Halstead. Preliminary discussion related to acquisition of real estate property exemption, KSA 754319B6, to include the city manager, the city attorney, and to reconvene at 8:30.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to enter back into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We'll move to the back room and we are in executive session.
Yes, I am.
We are back from that executive session. Is there any action to be taken as a result of? Well, hearing nothing from the council, that finishes up that portion of the agenda and moves us on to reports. I'll start with governing body comments tonight, and tonight I'll start with you, Jim.
Oh, I have nothing tonight.
Charlie.
Sure. Couple of small things. When I was reading through the minutes that we had before, and the murals that are put up downtown on the walls, okay. An adjacent city, Sedgwick, I was listening to their city council meeting the other night. One of the issues they raised was putting what kind of paint on those walls, and George could probably answer this, would not invalidate any kind of a sealant warranty they have on the wall.
Well, I think the ones that we've seen around town are done by that building owner himself,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
And you're talking about what does the sealing of the brick or the
Yeah,
stone
if a
do?
person puts sealant on their brick, let's say they have some tacking done, they do reseal it.
Yeah.
And you put murals on it, does that impact?
Well, if the brick is still glazed from when it was originally, the brick will be okay. It's the mortar that would have an issue with. And the mortar needs to breathe.
Yeah. Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Just curious. Another one is, and I don't know, I talked to Grant about it, but I just think it'd be a good idea. For example, on any day where the temperature gets 100 degrees by noon, thereafter, all swimming is free. For the residents of the city and for any kid who's on a city team.
Now, who brought this
Now,
up?
there are other towns that do
Charlie
this.
Robinson brought it up.
You were talking about with Grant, you said?
I discussed it with Grant.
And this idea you've seen other cities implement
Yes,
it?
yes.
I mean, it's
It
frankly a good
it
way to
takes that
promote our
100-degree
pool.
mark. Yeah, it's a way to advertise your pool. And your city residents are paying for it anyway. So, but, yeah, if you've got little kids waiting to play a ball game and they're not necessarily residents of the city, we didn't say their families, we're saying the kids could get in for free until maybe it's their time to play. On days at 100 degrees by noon.
How
Just a
many days
thought.
did we have last year?
How many what?
How many days last year did we have the temperature reach 100?
I don't have any idea.
Okay. Is there a way we can find that
I wasn't
out?
worried about
Well,
that.
we need all this data before you bring this
No,
forward.
no, you really don't.
Oh, that's an interesting concept.
Whether or not I think it's a great concept.
Anything else?
Yeah, but I'll wait.
Okay, I'll move on to George then.
No, sir, I have nothing.
Shauna.
I guess with it starting to get warmer, I guess just a reminder to drink plenty of water. Yeah, get to the pool if you have to be outside. Wear your sunscreen. And the snow cone shack is opened up this week, so make sure you get down there and support our local snow cone shacks. The best around
cones
by
ever.
far. So
Good.
I know I've seen lots of colorful faces after they've been
Yes.
at the snow cone shack, so.
On to you, Denise.
Yeah, just congratulations and welcome home to all the kids that went to Carnegie Hall to sing. I didn't realize it had been like 15 years since the last time my kid went. But yeah, that's a huge accomplishment. And so congratulations. I'm sure those are lifelong memories that you only get once. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So congratulations and welcome home.
Yeah, and I think it's good to point that out. I think a lot of times our sports teams get a lot of the limelight from the school, and, we have other academic type extracurricular activities down there that those kids do a heck of a job representing Halstead outside of the district too, whether it be forensics or debate or Obviously the choir,
Choir,
chorus,
yeah.
whatever it is. So, yeah, and these kids all do a great job representing the community. That's about all I can add, so I'll move on to Ethan for his city manager report.
Thank you. I just, again, want to thank the residents who came out and participated in the preliminary plan review there for the North Street rehabilitation and the sidewalk improvements going on there. I was excited to get their feedback, and I think we had all the residents except for one that couldn't make it unfortunately, but appreciated their feedback, and the engineer really appreciated the feedback on the project, so we look forward to continuing to move that forward. We are still in negotiation with the final property on Safe Routes to School, but hopefully we'll be moving that project forward as fast as we can. Looks like we will have enough businesses that wanted to participate in the signs grant, so we will be submitting that application tomorrow on behalf of those businesses, with the city doing the match requirement out of our Dragon Grant funds. Also attended a meeting for the Big Kansas Road Trip that the Kansas Sampler Foundation helps put on. They are visiting Halstead in September, so we will talk to you a little more about ways the city will hopefully support that efforts, and feel that it'll fit right in a great time period for Riverside Park, following its utilization during Old Settlers and then before the Kansas Barn Sale in October. So very exciting there. And other than that, please remember to just send me your tentative schedules, or I guess non-work dates for potential work sessions. That way we can get a work session on the next agenda and have a good recommendation for that date to keep working on the budget. And that's all I have this
Ethan,
evening.
could you remind me of what dates, what month you'd like to do that? For some reason I didn't write
Like
it down.
the last 2 weeks of June and the first 2 weeks of July is kind of the time frame of, yeah, if you're gonna be out of town or something, or there's nights that don't work, let us know. So we can, yeah, that will be an agenda item for you all next meeting.
Anybody else have any questions for Ethan? If not, that does conclude our agenda this evening, and I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move, let's go home.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, council.